Greetings, this is Bloodrill and welcome back to Let's Play Lamplight City, where we are currently investigating the kidnapping of a young, of a baby really.
What time did the kidnapping occur?
I'm not entirely sure. I know I was in the nursery having a cup of tea about 8:30. I remember feeling very
Drugs.
drowsy. I must have passed out then because the next thing I knew, I was being woken by Mrs. Harris.
Who made the tea?
That was after she got home. About 10:30. To think, whoever took part in
10:30.
did
Didn't
it
she
while
say
I was
she came
in
home
the
at 8?
room? Oh, may the spirits grant me
And the
peace.
husband at 9?
Do you happen to take any sort of sleep medications or soporifics?
Oh, dear me, no. Those types of drugs cloud the mind and make it impossible to tune into the ether.
You say that as though it were a bad thing.
I beg your pardon?
Apologies, I spoke out of turn.
So somebody definitely dragged her. Who made the tea, can we ask? Not yet.
Can you think of anyone who would have wanted to take the child?
Well,
Maybe I can check
I'm
the
not one to
teapot.
gossip, but I am quite sensitive to the energy and vibrations that people give off. I get the impression that Mr. and Mrs. Harris aren't very happy in their marriage.
Ah, come on, anyone could have picked up on that. Anyone except you, that is.
Mr. Harris likes to stay out late and not take his wife with him. I can't remember the last time they went out together. I don't know what he gets up to, but it's possible he may have made some enemies.
Maybe he's in debt due to his gambling.
Can you think of any reason why someone would want to kidnap Charles?
It might have been for money, but last I heard there was no demand for a ransom. I honestly don't know why this happened, Mr. Fordham. I just hope you find
This mouth is freaking me
He
out,
must be
seriously.
scared to death.
My immersion is broken.
I found this piece of torn fabric in the nursery. Does it look familiar to you?
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry.
I found this button in the baby's crib. Do you recognize it?
Why, yes. That's one of Barney's eyes.
Barney.
Charlie's stuffed bear. It's his favorite toy, a gift from my friend Linda.
I didn't find a stuffed bear in the nursery.
Then whoever took the baby must have taken Barney as well. Oh, at least the poor thing has something to comfort him. Bless the spirits.
Who is Linda?
Mrs. Linda Walker. She's a good friend of mine. As I said, she gave me Barney as a gift for Charlie.
Can you tell me anything else about her?
Oh, she's a lovely girl, very much in tune with her spiritual nature. I greatly enjoy my conversations with her.
When was the last time you saw her?
Oh, I don't remember. No, wait. It was at the last Spectre Society meeting on the 19th. That's right.
What is the Spectre Society?
It's a club for spiritualists and amateur investigators of the paranormal. We meet twice a month to socialize and discuss our findings.
I see. Sounds fascinating.
Though I don't expect you to share my beliefs, Mr. Fordham.
Oh, I have a bit more experience than you'd think.
That's
with regards
funny.
to the spirit world.
You can say that again.
Where exactly do these meetings take place?
At a private residence in Gascon.
May I have the address?
Why, yes, it's
Wow.
325 Rougemont. Are you going to seek spiritual guidance to find Charlie?
Perhaps. You never know what might be worth looking into.
I didn't expect her to give that to us. Cool.
That's a lovely portrait. Who is it of?
That is my late husband, Jonathan. He used to attend meetings of the Spectre Society with me, bless him. I tried to get him to be more in tune with the other side, but I think he was just humoring me. He was a good man. Everyone at the society cared for him very much.
You have Linda Walker's address?
No, I don't. I never visited her home. I get the feeling she doesn't like having visitors or being home very much. She prefers to meet people elsewhere.
Suspicious.
I was the same way after my husband died. It was embarrassing for my friends to see me living so differently. But I feel it's not just a matter of pride for dear Linda. I think there are lots of bad memories dolls associated with where she lives. I try to stay away from places like that. They leave a mark on the soul, you know.
I couldn't help but notice that chest full of dolls in the corner.
Oh, that. Oh, I know it must look a bit strange, but I pick up old and broken dolls so they can be repaired and donated to orphanages. It's my way of giving back to the community and helping poor children who have nothing to play with.
Well, what a kind soul. I wish she would find less creepy ways to express her altruism.
How long have you worked as a nanny?
Only a few years. I never had to work when I was married. My husband had a lot of money. Unfortunately, he was in great debt. And after the spirits took him back to the ether, I wasn't left with much. So I began working as a nanny to make ends meet. But I consider taking care of children a reward in its own right.
Why was he in
Thank you for your
debt?
time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh,
You
you're
can't ask
very
that.
welcome.
Seems like that boiler's the only thing in here that's less than 10 years old. My mother had a pewter teapot as...
And we can't actually investigate this. I would love to talk to the butler, but the game won't let us yet. Hopefully we'll get to
I'll be
see
going now, Mrs. Davis.
him soon.
May the spirits guide your path.
Maybe search the kitchen too. Seems pretty obvious that something is going on the way she fell asleep. I mean, it's a old lady, so maybe it's just that, but the broken glass and all, it's heard nothing. That doesn't seem plausible.
Too dark to tell what's inside. You must enjoy the somber atmosphere.
Yes? May I help you?
Hello, ma'am. My name's Miles Fordham, and I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Are you with the police?
No, I'm a private investigator.
I'm terribly sorry, darling, but I simply don't have the time right now. Perhaps if you come back next week, I'll be able to answer your questions then.
This is the Spectre Society, right? I'm interested in joining.
Ah, yes it is. Welcome, darling. Our membership process is a bit different to most social clubs. We require a sponsor.
Sounds simple enough.
Well, you see, we ask that sponsors be people who have passed on into the spirit.
Sounds easy enough.
Once you name your sponsor, I will attempt communication beyond the ether. When they answer, you will be judged and considered for membership.
What are you looking for in a sponsor?
A willingness to communicate from beyond the ether. Open-mindedness, a desire for
This is so
truth.
funny because they
In
won't
other
actually
words,
find him, I'm
all
pretty
the
sure.
qualities of a member of the Spectre Society. Actually, we've had former members who have passed on act as sponsors before.
I've got a sponsor.
Excellent. What is the name of your sponsor, darling?
Jonathan Davis is my sponsor.
You knew Jonathan? He was
Yeah, I
such
doubt
a
Bill is
kind
gonna
man.
get us in.
Yes, I can feel his presence, and it speaks positively of you. Please, come in, Mr. Fordham. I am Angela Maxwell, the founder of the Spectre Society. Welcome. May I offer you some refreshments? Some water or tea, perhaps?
You're very kind, but I'm afraid I must decline right now.
Well, please let me know if you change your mind.
Would you look at this place? It's like a candy store for psychics.
I'm interested to see what would happen if we used Bill's name. So I will load just to see the dialogue there.
Yes?
This is...
Well, when...
I've got a... Bill Legere is my sponsor.
Seriously, Fordham? I thought you knew better than that.
Bill Legere. Very well, I will attempt to communicate with him.
She can do this all day. It's not gonna work.
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble
Yeah, of course.
See? Told you.
Yeah, Thanks a lot.
Alright, that's interesting in multiple ways.
There's quite a few members in this group.
Angela Maxwell. The meeting was wonderful, Cynthia. Monica Brown. Anyone interested in using a spirit board, please let Thomas know. Sophia, Thomas, oh, Linda Walker. Nope.
There's quite a few members in this group.
That's a weird way to write this. Everyone else is so... well... a lot of calligraphy, except for that. That seems plainer somehow. Just take care of the name. I can't. Who can read this? Okay.
I think I've seen one of these before. What does it do?
It's a spirit board. We use it to contact spirits, and they in turn spell out a message with the letters on the board.
Well, I've got a message from Miss Maxwell if she ever tries to use a spirit board around me.
You can see the letters. The name for Linda looked kinda the way he had written it, but I don't remember exactly. So.
Ooh, spooky. That ghost between the two people almost manages to look convincing.
What a fascinating device. Exactly what does it do?
That is an etherometer. It's designed to pick up vibrations from the ether and translate messages from the spirits.
It's interesting because we don't know if the ether stuff is actually bogus. You know, something that, again, fascinated people back then. Or it's part of this world since it's an alternate reality world. The whole steampunk thing they got going.
Must be for the more traditionalist members.
This is also an interesting phenomenon. Secrets of the Tarot. Okay. Wow, we can actually read all of this. I'm skimming them, obviously. I'm not gonna read all of them. But it's impressive. That looks like an Eska's diary from the Cathedral of Flesh. If you played the Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, it looks kinda exactly like that. Which is weird. If you haven't played it, you should play it. It's a fantastic game. If you like vampires or RPGs. Jesus. I wonder if this will come handy later on, like if this will be important. Otherwise, I'm not sure why you can read all of this. There must be a reason.
Plaque says Leonora Pattinson, seer. She looks like someone I would not want to fool around with.
And that's all.
I never much cared for all that mystic stuff. Why should your life be dictated by a bunch of cards?
Could I ask you about some things, Miss Maxwell?
Certainly, darling.
Alright. Now, she looks very nice.
What can you tell
She
me
still
about
has the same discoloration.
Where to begin?
Was it there always and I just noticed it?
2 years ago, right after I moved to New Bretagne. During our meetings, we discuss our experiences with paranormal phenomena and organize
Weird.
investigations.
What sort of investigations?
We look into places all around the city which have been reported as haunted. New Bretagne is teeming with the spirits of those killed during the French and British takeovers of the city. Not only that, but there is a prevalence of mystic religious practices here in Gascogne, brought over by immigrants from the Antilles.
Fascinating.
There are plenty of books on the subject over there in the bookcase, if you're interested in learning more.
Way ahead of you.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of Charles Harris?
I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about any kidnappings, darling. If you wish, I can commune with the spirits and see if I can help locate your missing person.
That won't be necessary, Miss Maxwell, though I appreciate the offer. I spoke with Henrietta Davis, and she mentioned one of your other members, Linda Walker. Can you tell me anything about her?
Ah, Linda. Poor dear. Of all our members, she is the one I feel for the most.
Why is that?
She's had a tragic life, but I believe the Spectre Society has helped her greatly. Not only has she made a good friend in Henrietta, she's also dealt with her grief in a positive way.
What is the
She
grief
has
for?
devoured my collection of books.
Is it for a
educated
child,
herself
perhaps?
on many subjects.
Dying?
I would say she's become an expert on clairvoyance and metempsychosis. It's always nice to know that the club can help those who have suffered.
Do you see her often?
Yes, she comes by about once or twice a week.
What can you tell me about Linda and Henrietta's friendship?
It's so lovely to see them together at the meetings. They're practically inseparable. It's quite sweet. They often leave messages for each other in the guest book. When Linda found out that Henrietta was taking care of an infant, she even gave her a toy bear for the child. I remember Linda lighting up with excitement when she asked about him. She really loves children. It's such a terrible shame about
Definitely
it.
our first suspect.
Please, let's discuss something more pleasant, shall we, darling?
All the bells are ringing.
I'm sorry, what was it you said? Madam what?
Metempsychosis, darling. It's a philosophical term which comes from ancient Greece.
Of course.
It refers to the transmigration of the soul after death.
Is that anything like reincarnation?
Essentially, yes. There's a book on the subject over in the bookcase, which can tell you far more than I possibly could.
What's this tragic story about Linda you mentioned?
Oh, dear. I probably shouldn't say.
But you will.
Miss Maxwell, I'm going to be frank. I'm investigating a kidnapping, and Mrs. Walker is a person of interest. I need to know as much about her as possible to help me solve this case. Do I make myself clear?
Well, if it will help, Linda was married to a man named Thomas. Together, they had a son named Alexander. Thomas revealed himself to be a terribly cruel man. When he gave himself over to the drink, he would fly into rages and beat both Linda and the boy. One day, she came home to find both her son and husband dead.
My God, what happened?
Damn.
Police ruled it a murder-suicide. Poisoning, apparently. Linda has been trying to make contact with Alexander's spirit for the past year or so, but has had no luck. It really is a terrible tragedy.
That's the first time we've seen him actually react to something quite so obviously.
Do you know Linda Walker's address?
I'm afraid not, darling. Linda has always been somewhat private, and that's not something I consider to be crucial information.
Do you know any way I can find her?
You could always come back for our next meeting. It will be the first Thursday of next month.
Yeah,
By
pass.
then we'll have completely lost track of Charles. There has to be another way of finding Linda.
What made you decide to start up this club?
I began communing with the spirits at a very early age. My twin sister, Rachel, died after falling into an icy pond when we were 8 years old.
I'm very sorry, Miss Maxwell.
Oh, I appreciate your sympathy, darling, but don't feel too bad. Rachel began speaking to me shortly after that.
Yeah, I know about
She has served
that.
as my spirit guide ever since.
Spirit guide? You mean you still speak with her?
Oh, yes. Every day. In fact, I was just speaking with her before you arrived. As I grew older, I realized there were others in the world who were also able to communicate with spirits, and those who had an interest in what lies beyond the ether. And so, once I moved to New Bretagne, I decided to start up this club so we could gather and share our experiences.
Do you suppose she can hear what I'm saying?
Nah.
Hey, Angela, try a bit less eyeshadow, would you? You look like a purple raccoon. Nothing. Clearly a fraud. Ah, well.
I was wondering,
Yes?
when you communicate with the spirits, are you able to stop?
If I wish them to leave me, yes. I bid them farewell, and they usually depart back into the ether.
What about the more persistent ones?
You do remember I'm right here, don't you?
Well, just between you and me. Those spirits are best dealt with by having the other kind of spirits. Quiets them right down.
I prefer soporific myself.
Oh? You hear the voices of the spirits as well, Mr. Fordham. But of course, now the reason for your visit to the Spectre Society is obvious. Do you see? All our paths eventually become clear. I'm glad yours has brought you here.
Oh, wonderful. Now she started rhyming. Don't get any funny ideas about telling her about me. She may be a lunatic, but that's no reason to expose yourself as one too.
Choices. I can always tell her about Bill, and then if she tells someone else, I can say, I just told her that to gain her confidence, to gain access to the society.
I don't hear the voices of all spirits, just one.
Miles, what are you doing?
Ah, you have a spirit guide. Please, tell me more, darling.
I wouldn't call him a spirit guide so much as a spirit nag.
This is a very, very bad idea.
Do you know who this spirit is?
Yes, it's my former detective partner, Bill. I shot him on our last case together.
You shot him?
He was on a roof, being held at knife point by a burglar. They were too close. I took the shot, but missed, and hit my partner instead.
Oh my, you poor darling. Is he angry with you?
Well, he is now. He doesn't think it's a good idea to tell others about him. But normally, he's the same as he was in life. He just wants me to find the man responsible for his death. I've told him I'm really the one responsible, but he insists it's the burglar.
I see. This is quite the unfortunate situation. My advice to you is this. Spirits often know best. You do well to listen to him about keeping his presence to yourself. Not everyone is as open-minded as we members of the Spectre Society.
Huh. Maybe I misjudged her.
I know. It's been hardest keeping this from my wife, but I can't drive her away. She's all I've really got left.
Your story has touched me, Mr. Fordham. I will do everything I
You should
can.
probably
You
tell
and
your wife.
Spirit guide find peace. If I find anything out which might help you, I will contact you personally.
Thank you, Miss Maxwell. I appreciate it.
Well, that could have turned out much worse. I'm warning you, Miles. Tell anyone else about me, and I won't be so forgiving.
Thank you for the information. It was very enlightening.
It was my pleasure, darling.
This is very interesting. The way the game hints at consequences for your actions.
There's quite a few members in the...
Okay, Henrietta. Linda. Looking forward to hanging with you at the manor next week. Come around 8 PM and you can meet Charlie. Oh, so she invited her. Maybe sat down for drinks and Linda had drank the tea and that's how...
I'll be going now.
May the spirits guide you to that which you seek.
Interesting. We need to go and speak with her again.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Mrs. Davis, have you ever had Linda visit you at the Harris Manor?
Oh, no, of course not.
And would you care to explain your note to her in the Spectre Society guest book?
Please, Mr. Fordham, I didn't mean to lie to you. It's just that it gets so lonely by myself in the house at night. So every now and then, I invite Linda to come over for tea and some company.
I see. And when was the last time this happened?
2 nights ago. Please don't tell Mr. and Mrs. Harris, Mr. Fordham. If they found out what I was doing, they'd have me dismissed without a reference.
I won't, but I'd very much like to speak with Mrs. Walker. you have any idea where I can find her?
All I know is that she works as a seamstress at a shop in Lyon, but I don't know the name. I'm sorry, I can't be of any more help than that.
Maybe this is the name for the shop.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So far this seems more one-sided than the previous case. Everything points to Linda.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Of course, appearances can be deceiving. Let's go and ask our friend. Maybe she knows about the shop.
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
How's work going?
Hectic as usual.
Might as well
Crime in
ask
city
the rest
seems
of
to
the
be worse
things.
and worse every day.
I suppose that's the price of progress.
God help us if they ever actually discover that ethericity stuff then. Things between you and Adelaide getting any better?
I'm really not sure. They haven't gotten worse, but things haven't been the same between us since Bill died.
Well, you need to figure things out, or everything is just going to explode in your face one of these days.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Upton.
I'm merely speaking from experience. If I'd seen the warning signs of Harold sooner, it would have saved me quite the headache. At least your marriage seems like it's still worth saving.
What's the other case you mentioned? The one you said was a higher priority.
No, it seems we might have a mass murderer on our hands.
You don't say.
That's right, I didn't say because I shouldn't say. But so far, we've had 3 murders with a very similar MO in the past 2 months. Snelling is trying his hardest to keep it under wraps since the newspapers already caught wind of the first 2.
I don't envy the department there. I'm happy to stick with the missing persons and domestic disputes. Can we go over my current case?
Of course. What have you got?
I found this torn piece of fabric at the crime scene. It's got an emblem with some initials on it.
I recognize that emblem.
She knows everything.
It's from Solomon Stitching, a little tailor shop in Lyon. My ex-husband had several jackets from there.
Sorry to dredge up old memories, but do you remember where they're located?
I believe it's on the corner of Bonneville Street and Surratt Avenue.
Fantastic. You're helpful as always, Upton. I spoke with Henrietta Davis, the Harris family nanny.
A sensible place to start. What did she have to say?
She claims to have been unconscious when the kidnapping took place.
She must be an extremely heavy sleeper.
I don't believe so. The way she described it made it sound like she was drugged.
Interesting. Definitely worth looking into, I'd say.
I'm already doing that.
I found this button at the crime scene.
I'll say all of this, but I think we'll go to what we came for.
Bear.
Did you find the bear at the scene?
No, the kidnapper must have taken it as well.
Interesting.
Either the kidnapper is very compassionate, or it's someone who knew the child. Have you ever heard of the Spectre Society?
I think so. They're some sort of ghost hunting club, aren't they?
A spiritualist group, yes.
Don't tell me this case has taken a turn for the supernatural.
Not exactly. Just come up as a potential lead. Are you familiar with the term metempsychosis?
No, what is it?
Apparently some mystics and philosophers maintain that it's a process whereby human and animal souls are transferred to new bodies upon death.
Fascinating. Some people have such queer ideas. What's that got to do with the kidnapping, though?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Sometimes I'm jealous of all the odd things you detectives get to look into.
That's enough about the case for now.
Maybe she thinks that it's her son
Then you'd better get back to it.
soul in the child on Charles. Maybe that's why she kidnapped him. That would make sense. For now though, I'll end the episode here, and next episode we'll go and see if we can find her or the child. For now, thank you for watching. As usually, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, like, all the good stuff. And I will see you next time with more Lamplight City.